Here we go!
Hey everyone, today I want to show you what was one of my favorite places to hang out after a stressful week of work back when I worked in Japan. Retro Game Center Zarigani. Zarigani meaning crayfish. We will look at this history of this gaming center and compare it to a beloved classic arcade that I used to spend countless hours in, and tokens back in the 90s and early 2000s that I am sure you will also be familiar with wherever it is you grew up in. If you like this video and similar content related to retro nostalgia, 80s or 90s culture, feel free to hit the subscribe button because I will be making videos similar to what we see today, mainly talking about Japanese retro culture and urban exploration. Opened in 1985, this retro game center is filled with gems as far back as 1983, which was considered the golden age of arcade gaming. That's literally a 40-year-old game cabinet that you can play on, which is extremely rare. The arcade hosts lineup of games that many of you could probably identify from your childhood, such as Mario Bros., Mega Man, Street Fighter, to name a few. I'm sure a few of you will appreciate the nostalgia-inducing 80s game center music and classic hits, and even some amazing Sega Experience movable cabinets that made you feel like you were piloting an actual jet. In fact, this particular game, named Afterburn, is recommended by the staff as both a unique and rare experience, and is said to be the last of its kind in all Japan, making this place a sort of holy shrine of retro video gaming. I vaguely remember trying something like this in 1997 alongside VR Doom in some shopping mall showcase while hanging out with my grandfather. Unfortunately, it seems some of the machines have stopped working, and during a recent visit I had made in 2024, I had noticed that some machines were even removed, but hopefully just temporarily. For me, this place is very nostalgic, as I used to enjoy going to the arcade in the late 90s and early 2000s. In my hometown, there was a famous arcade called Johnny Z's, which had tons of shooters, including Star Wars, Terminator 2, and Time Crisis, a whole host of racing games, and vertically scrolling airplane shooters. My favorite game back home was this obscure tank game called Tokyo Wars, which some of you probably remember as the tank game, which I remember costing something ridiculous like 4 tokens. That was considered a lot back then, and this game would eat up most of my allowance. As for the premise of the game, it had 2 teams, green and white. I presume the green tanks were Japanese type 10 tanks, and the white camouflage tanks are very reminiscent of Chinese type 88s, though as a kid I had no idea and just thought that the green tanks were cool. It is important to note that although old by today's standards, Johnny Z's, the arcade that I was used to in my hometown, had a lot of modern type games and wasn't fully a retro-focused gaming experience. It would probably be more comparable to Taito Station in Japan, which has all of the newest arcade cabinets and trends, including your standard shooters, racing games, and even a lot of gacha-style cabinets, which is basically gambling. As for this gaming center, the machines on the third and second floors are much older. However, the first floor seems to be more similar to the games I enjoyed in Canada, which were mostly point-and-click shooters or fighting games. Rockman, also known as Mega Man in the West, is ever present in arcade form, and I played this game to death for Super Nintendo. I really liked the character Zero. Capcom always seems to come out with some fun things every decade, although I never could get into Monster Hunter. I guess I prefer the more classic titles. Marvel vs. Capcom, for example, was the bomb, and I probably drank a whole 7-Eleven's worth of Jolt Cola back in the day while playing that on PlayStation late into the night with friends. The 90s were good. This game is my all-time favorite that I was shamelessly addicted to, Densha de Go, or Go by Train. Obviously, being a retro arcade, this place only had the first 2 editions and lacked the latest version, which was insanely realistic in real-world locations. I quite liked it for some of the tracks, specifically the ones located in the Kansai region, which were my daily commutes to work. As for the surrounding area of this arcade, there are so many places to eat and drink after a gaming session, and there was even a retro gaming bar near here where you obviously drink and game. I had never been there myself, but I had seen another Japanese YouTuber cover it, and it looked quite fun. If you ever visit this part of Osaka, please check this place out and bring 100 yen coins. And be sure to stop by the various vending machines for some sweet caffeine refueling. This place is also close by to the other electronics mecca known as Denden Town, which is the Osaka equivalent of Tokyo's Akihabara, which is filled with electronics, video, and anime stuff. Something I admittedly know very little of, to the shock of a few people. You can literally buy almost any game or hobby, and it actually makes me regret really strongly why I moved away from this amazing place with such easy access to cool things. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed it. What kind of arcade games did you enjoy back in the day? Let me know in the comments section. And bonus points for people who know of Johnny's Eves. What was your memories of that place? Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. It's time for my Honkirin beer.